Think about how you usually interact with history. You probably picture museums uh dusting off ancient artifacts behind glass, reading those little bronze plaques.
Right, we definitely crave that sort of neat categorization. I mean, a clear, linear timeline makes the sheer chaos of history feel uh, manageable, I guess, digestible.
Yeah, exactly. But sometimes the most accurate time capsules aren't in museums at all. Sometimes they're hidden in the metadata of a forgotten DVD or buried deep in a random TV guide search page from 2 decades ago.
Which is a lot messier. Sifting through the artifacts of our recent past is, well, it's a completely different kind of archaeological dig.
It really is. You aren't brushing dirt off pottery. You are sifting through dead links and algorithmic ghosts.
Algorithmic ghosts. I like that. It's a very accurate way to describe the digital landscape today.
Which actually brings us to our mission for today's deep dive. We're exploring a topic that it might seem a little surprising at first glance, but I promise you, it is an incredibly fascinating lens into how technology, media, and the internet completely evolved in the early 2000s.
Yeah, we're looking at a pretty unique stack of sources today.
We really are. We've got a comprehensive biobibliographical academic analysis, some international Wikipedia archives, specifically from Poland, which we'll get into, and some seriously baffling mainstream media metadata from TV Guide.
And the focal point for all of this, we are tracking the career trajectory of one specific performer in the adult entertainment industry, Alaura Eden.
Right. Because by tracking her career, we are essentially tracking the sweeping socio-technological changes of the entire DVD era right up to the dawn of digital streaming.
Just to establish our parameters for this deep dive, though, we are viewing her career strictly through the lens of industry evolution, personal branding, and the bizarre realities of digital archiving.
Right, so we're focusing less on the specific mature films themselves and much more on the brutal economic and technological ecosystem that produced them.
Exactly, the business and the tech.
Okay, let's unpack this. Who is Alaura Eden? We're talking about someone born Stacy Nakabe in San Francisco in 1977. She's of Japanese and Finnish descent, graduated from Redwood High School in 1995.
And fast forward to early 2001, she enters the mature entertainment industry at the age of 23.
Right. In 2001, that's a pretty significant year, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's a critical inflection point.
Mm-hmm.
The entire industry was undergoing this massive stylistic shift at that moment. Her very first film was part of a series called The Dirty Debutantes.
Directed by Seymour Betts, right?
Exactly. And this is the perfect example of what the academic source calls the debutante mechanism of the early 2000s.
I have to jump in here because when I look at the mechanics of this, it immediately makes me think of, the mainstream film industry.
That's right. How so?
Well, it sounds just like a young actor starting out in really gritty, low-budget indie documentaries, you know? They have to prove they have raw authenticity before a major studio will hand them the keys to a blockbuster. Is that a fair analogy?
Actually, the underlying logic is incredibly similar. But to understand why, you kind of have to picture what the 1990s were like in this specific industry.
Okay, paint the picture for us.
Well, the 90s were the era of the big hair features. I mean, these were highly choreographed, very expensive productions. They mimicked traditional Hollywood movies.
So full scripts, massive lighting rigs, elaborate sets.
Exactly, massive budgets. But by the early 2000s, consumer tastes radically shifted. The audience totally rejected that level of artificial polish.
They wanted something more real.
Right, they wanted what became known as gonzo realism.
Got it. So instead of a massive soundstage, we are talking handheld cameras, natural lighting, and a much more intimate documentary-style feel.
Yeah, the kind of thing that looks like it was shot in someone's living room on a standard consumer VHS camcorder.
What's fascinating here is that this shift wasn't just an artistic choice. It actually functioned as a deliberate industry vetting process.
A vetting process, like an audition.
Kind of. The Debutante series was the absolute pinnacle of that aesthetic. It intentionally positioned performers as unpolished, authentic newcomers. The industry used these really raw shoots as a filter.
Oh, I see. So if a performer could command the screen in that stripped-down environment.
Exactly. Without the benefit of glamorous lighting or high-end editing to hide their flaws, if they could resonate with an audience there, they proved they possessed genuine marketability.
That sounds incredibly difficult, though. I mean, if every single performer in that era is shoved into the exact same raw, unpolished, handheld VHS style, how does anyone actually stand out?
You're just one face in a sea of amateur-looking footage.
Right. So how does she do it?
What's fascinating here is that standing out required a highly calculated mix of technical stamina and rigorous brand consistency. She didn't just fade into the background.
She built a recognizable identity.
Exactly. Across multiple sprawling databases, she consistently used variations of her brand, Alaura Eden, Alaura, or sometimes Des, and she leveraged that recognition to quickly transition from those amateur-style debuts to working with serious, established industry veterans.
Which we see clearly by 2003, right? She's working with massive names like Stephen St. Croix and Rio Mariah.
Yep, in a production called International Tushy, and that strategic ladder climbing totally pays off. In 2004, she secures a nomination at the AVN Awards.
And for those who don't follow the industry, the AVNs are essentially the Oscars of the adult entertainment world.
Right. And she was nominated for Best New Starlet.
That Best New Starlet nomination is like the ultimate proof of concept for that debutante mechanism we talked about. It signifies that a performer has successfully survived the indie-style gauntlet.
You're no longer an untested amateur.
Exactly. You have been validated as a highly marketable, professional commodity. And furthermore, she actually received another AVN nomination that same year for a highly complex, multi-partner scene in that 2003 film.
Oh, wow. So she wasn't just a new face. She had serious technical chops.
Yeah, it proved to producers that she had the technical proficiency to hit her marks and really hold her own alongside seasoned veterans.
So she proves herself in the gritty, indie-style gonzo world. She gets the critical acclaim. But the industry doesn't just let her coast, does it?
No, not at all. Just as she masters the VHS aesthetic, the technology of the entire medium forces a massive pivot.
Right. As the mid-2000s roll in, the industry makes a hard transition from analog standard definition to high-definition digital production.
And that technological leap completely upended the visual language of the medium. I mean, think about the last time you watched an old VHS tape.
Oh, yeah, it's so fuzzy and soft.
Right. Remember how forgiving that fuzzy quality was?
Yeah.
Well, when you transition to high-definition digital sensors, you are fundamentally changing what the camera captures. HD exposes every single pore, every blemish, and, like, every stray hair that standard definition used to hide.
Which means the gritty, low-light, handheld aesthetic suddenly looks terrible.
Exactly. You can't just run around a poorly lit living room anymore because the digital sensor will expose how cheap the production actually is.
Right, which forced the industry to bring back superstar casting and high-budget production values.
The lighting had to become immaculate again. The makeup had to be absolutely flawless. It was a brutal transition that abruptly ended the careers of a lot of performers who really only thrived in the softer light of analog video.
But Alaura Eden adapts. In 2007, she lands a role in a film called I Dream of Jenna 2.
Directed by Justin Starling.
Right, and this was a flagship project for the Club Jenna brand. We are talking about the absolute peak of the HD superstar era here. High stakes, high gloss, massive budget.
It was essentially a marketing vehicle, right?
Yeah.
Designed to showcase the absolute highest production values the industry was capable of at that time.
The collaborative dynamics required for this project are staggering to think about. I mean, she is sharing a complex, highly choreographed ensemble scene with the most elite names in the business. Janet Jameson, Belladonna, Aurora Snow, and Cindy Crawford.
Going from a dirty, handheld debutante video to a massive, perfectly lit HD ensemble with the biggest stars in the world, that is a huge technical leap.
And here's where it gets really interesting. She actually received a 2008 AVN nomination for this specific ensemble performance.
Ensemble performances of that scale are notoriously difficult to execute. You have multiple performers navigating a shared space, multiple high-definition camera angles to be hyper-aware of.
And the pacing has to remain totally seamless.
Exactly. The AVN committee, recognizing her work there, just proves an incredible level of professional adaptability. Moving fluidly between the chaotic gonzo style and the glamorous, highly structured superstar spectacle was rare. Most performers hit a wall and could only master one.
If you're enjoying the vibe, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with your friends. It really helps us out.
Now, navigating that technological whiplash, jumping from VHS realism to HD glamour, it required far more than just on-camera talent.
Right. It demanded a rigorous, highly proactive business strategy. The industry was rapidly consolidating, and surviving that required really sharp economic instincts.
I'm struggling to understand the economics here, actually. In mainstream Hollywood, If you prove you can handle the transition to Blockbuster HD, you usually sign a massive multi-picture deal with a studio to guarantee your security.
Right. That's the dream.
So why wouldn't she just lock in a studio contract?
Well, a few elite performers, like Jenna Jameson, did sign exclusive, highly lucrative contracts with major studios. But those contracts were incredibly rare. Alaura Eden operated on a hybrid economic model.
A hybrid model. What does that mean in this context?
She was basically a high-level independent contractor in a constantly shifting market.
But doesn't freelancing in such a volatile, technology-driven market seem incredibly risky? I mean, you have no studio backing you, no one paying for your marketing, no guaranteed day rates.
It's super risky. How do you not just get buried by the contracted studio stars who have massive PR machines behind them?
It requires a level of relentless self-marketing that contracted stars simply didn't have to worry about. As an independent performer, you are the product, the marketing department, and the CEO.
You have to do everything yourself.
Everything. This meant actively networking with different directors, aggressively negotiating your own rates, and crucially, managing your public image face-to-face with fans.
At massive industry trade shows, right? Like the AVN Expo in Las Vegas.
Exactly. So she's running a one-woman enterprise. And to mitigate the risks of that freelance model, she actively expanded her professional footprint off the DVD shelf.
She capitalized on the growing cable television market, didn't she?
She did. She actually co-hosted a show called The Nooner on the Spice Channel, alongside her boyfriend Des.
And the Nooner wasn't just standard programming. It was the first live interactive cable show of its kind in that specialized space. Viewers could call in and interact in real time.
Which is a massive precursor to the modern creator economy. I mean, going from pre-recorded, highly edited DVD content to live, interactive broadcasting requires a totally different hosting skill set.
It's basically the 2004 version of hosting a Twitch stream, right? Or running an interactive, specialized content page.
It shows incredible foresight into where media was heading. She clearly recognized that diversifying revenue streams and increasing mainstream live visibility was the key to longevity.
And she took it a step further, too. By 2004, she moved behind the camera to produce and co-direct. She and Des launched their own production series called Des's Dirty Weekend.
Oh, smart. So by taking control of the production side, she was no longer just a freelancer waiting for the phone to ring. She was creating the content and owning the intellectual property herself.
Which explains how she managed to be so incredibly prolific. She appeared in an estimated 250 to 300 films during her career.
That is a staggering amount of output.
It really is. But here's the wild part. Around 2006, after completely dominating the transition to HD, establishing herself as a producer, and pioneering live interactive TV, she just retires.
Just steps away completely.
Steps away from the industry entirely. But her story absolutely does not end with the physical DVDs she left behind.
Right, because just as she was retiring, the industry was undergoing its next tectonic shift, the move away from physical media entirely toward online digital streaming.
And because of that shift, her career entered a strange, sprawling digital afterlife.
This is the part of the deep dive that really blew my mind. The level of global archiving that exists for her work is staggering. We aren't just talking about a few nostalgic American fan forums here.
No, detailed, meticulously maintained archives of her life and career exist all over the global internet. The Polish Wikipedia has a massive, highly structured entry on her.
There are Czech databases too, right? Like osobnosti.cz and really detailed Turkish sites tracking her entire filmography.
Yeah. Why on earth is there such a massive, multilingual footprint for an American performer from the early 2000s?
It's really a testament to the sheer scale of the American media export market during that decade. American adult entertainment was shipped worldwide, and it was constantly subtitled or dubbed for European and Asian markets.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, productions often intentionally utilize international branding to appeal to those demographics. But more importantly, as physical media began to rot or just get thrown away, international fan communities took it upon themselves to meticulously archive this era online.
It's basically crowdsourced digital preservation. You look at these international databases today, and they didn't just catalog her films, they documented her as a complete biographical subject.
Italian and Czech archives specifically note her graduation, meaning they tracked her post-career transition into private life and higher education. They treated her legacy with real archival seriousness.
It's a fascinating, community-driven effort to preserve a highly specific cultural moment across language barriers.
But while those fan-driven wikis are meticulous and human-curated, the mainstream digital archiving of her career is where the mechanisms of the modern internet get truly bizarre.
Okay, let's talk about the absolute weirdest artifact in our stack today, TV Guide. So what does this all mean? We are looking at a snapshot of the TV Guide digital database from the year 2026.
And TV Guide is a completely mainstream, family-friendly, corporate entertainment database.
Right, yet they maintain a full celebrity profile for Alaura Eden. It has her biography page, her credits page. It even has these automated, standardized headings that say what to watch and hilariously shopping right under her name.
But there is absolutely zero actual content or streaming links available for any of her mature films on the site.
Exactly. It is a completely empty room with her name on the door.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, what we are observing is the TV Guide paradox. It's a perfect illustration of how modern search algorithms handle controversial or mature historical data.
Okay, break that down for us.
Well, TV Guide isn't maintaining that page because they ever plan to stream her 2003 Gonzo films. They're maintaining it purely for SEO, search engine optimization, and metadata farming.
Wait, so explain how that actually works. Are there humans at TV Guide building these pages?
Not at all. These databases are built by automated bots scraping wikis and search data. The algorithm recognizes that Alaura Eden is a highly searched entity. It sees thousands of historical internet queries tied to that name.
Oh, wow.
So the mainstream database automatically generates a placeholder profile to capture any of those stray search queries and then redirect that traffic to their own site to serve them ads.
So they're essentially using her name as a digital trap for search traffic.
Exactly that. The algorithm acknowledges her celebrity status and the financial value of her search volume. But simultaneously, its internal content filters block the actual nature of her professional work from ever appearing.
It strips the context and keeps the clicks.
Yes, that's exactly what it does.
That is wild. It's a ghost profile. They are monetizing the metadata of her identity without having to actually host or acknowledge the specialized professional content she created to build that identity.
It really highlights the absurdity of celebrity in the digital age, doesn't it? An algorithm doesn't care if you won an Oscar for a Hollywood drama or an AVN award for an HD ensemble feature.
It only cares if your name generates enough keystrokes to justify a shopping tab.
It reduces a complex, multifaceted human career down to a blank template. It's the ultimate capitalization of a digital footprint.
Okay, let's recap the journey we've taken today. We started in the gritty, analog trenches of the early 2000s, exploring how a performer built a career through raw, documentary-style realism.
And then we watched that career adapt to the unforgiving, high-gloss era of high-definition digital cameras, proving immense technical skill alongside the biggest superstars in the world.
We examined the treacherous economics of the freelance market, seeing how she built her own brand, pioneered live interactive television, and stepped behind the camera to own her own intellectual property.
And finally, we explored how a career built on physical plastic DVDs evolved into a permanent digital afterlife, meticulously archived by international fans in Poland and the Czech Republic, while simultaneously being hollowed out into SEO ghost profiles by mainstream corporate algorithms.
It is a perfect, self-contained timeline of how media, technology, and the internet have changed over the last 25 years.
This raises an important question, though, and something I really want you to consider. It makes you wonder about the digital footprints we are all leaving behind right now.
Oh, definitely.
If a career built entirely on physical media in the early 2000s is now eternally categorized by blind algorithms and international wikis in 2026, how will the algorithms of the future categorize the data, the metadata, and the ghost profiles we are creating today?
That is a terrifying thought.
Are we actually in control of our digital history, or are we all just generating search terms for a database we can't even see?
That is a haunting and brilliant thought to end on. You think you're just living your life, but really, you're just feeding the metadata machine. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. We love taking these strange, surprising journeys with you and pulling back the curtain on how our digital world actually works. Keep questioning the algorithms, stay curious, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.